The most direct effect of ocean acidification is on marine calcifiers. These are organisms like oysters, mussels, shellfish, and coral. Marine calcifiers use carbonate ions to build strong shells, skeletons, and hard parts. Emily Osborne, a scientist who studies ocean acidification, told me a little more.
It's reducing what I like to refer to as the building blocks that marine calcifiers or things that grow shells can use to build their shells.
As the ocean becomes more acidic, fewer carbonate ions are available, making the shells of these animals weak, brittle, and deformed.
The development of calcifier shells might seem insignificant, but it will have global ramifications that will only get worse the longer we leave this issue unaddressed. Our already weakened coral reefs are being disrupted in their development, making them more brittle. Effects on coral reefs will affect countless ecosystems and can result in a loss of biodiversity. The loss of calcifiers can affect the whole ecosystem because their predators are now lacking a major source of food. Shellfish industries have been majorly affected over the past 2 decades as a result of ocean acidification.
At Whiskey Creek in about 2007, suddenly the hatchery where they produce the tiny larval oyster that are sold to the growers that actually produce the commercial product, the hatchery was unable to produce those, could not meet their demand, and effectively they were producing no commercially viable larvae.
Obviously, this trend is devastating for oysters, but it also has a huge impact on the industries that rely on them. The companies that run hatcheries and farms for calcifiers take heavy blows as they try to invest in a solution. Over 1 billion people in poorer countries rely on seafood and fish as their main source of protein. In the northwestern United States, it can cause problems for indigenous populations that use marine resources, usually which were granted to them in their treaties with the American government. Coupled with runoff and overfishing, this could be another promise that the American government has broken with its indigenous populations. Listen to what Billy Frank Jr., an advocate for tribal fishing rights, has to say on the matter.
Of life is disappearing. And clean water, clean water, quality and quantity of water is life. And people don't seem to, I don't want to say they don't care about that, but they don't, they just keep destroying the water.
If we stopped all carbon emissions right now, we would still see effects of ocean acidification for a long time. So where do we start? Right now, tribes in Washington state are working with scientists to identify which species are in the most danger, that are also integral to people's way of life, and delegate specific resources accordingly. One such response is the use of eelgrass as an antacid. Eelgrass is a common sea plant that uses photosynthesis to absorb carbon dioxide from the water it's living in. If implemented properly, this could mitigate damage done to things like oyster hatcheries, who would be able to have more control over the pH levels of the water they use to raise oysters. In the end, nothing we do to mitigate the effects of ocean acidification and climate change will be a replacement for reducing carbon emissions. The world is not reacting fast enough to global climate change. The future of this planet rests in the hands of the young people of this world to right the wrongs of those who came before us, and it is our responsibility to accept that challenge and change our world for the better.